Now that we've created these categories, let's go ahead and actually create a survey using these categories. So I'll go back into the projects screen over here on the left, and I'll click on the green create button up here in the top right hand corner. Now, when you're creating a new survey, you do need to provide it with a name. So I'll call this Demo Survey 2. And then you need to specify what location this particular project applies to. So from the drop down here, you can select it to apply to a global location. In other words, the guest would have the option of picking a question or picking a location based on the location picker. Alternatively, you could assign it to a single location. So we'll go ahead and assign it to the Union Square location here. And then you can also provide a brief description for the project. So I could say, this is a demo project for Loop 360. I'll hit create. And there we go. We've got Demo Survey 2 has been created. You can see what location it's available at, when the project was created. And on the right-hand side, you can see the status of the project. So this currently is an inactive project, meaning it hasn't been distributed on any channels. And we currently don't have any questions associated with it either. So let's click into the project. And when we do, you'll see up here there are a number of different tabs associated with the project itself. So to start with, we have a summary tab that right now is of course empty because we don't really have any information beyond a brief description that we provided when we created it. You can edit this description at any time by clicking on the little edit icon next to the description and altering it if you'd like. Next up, we have our design tab. So this is our new survey builder. And as you can see, it is a very simple and straightforward survey builder because we have our toolbox of different question types available here on the left-hand side. Anytime you wish to add a specific question, you simply need to click on the appropriate tool from the toolbox and it will get added in here in the center. So to start with, I want to add a couple of Boolean question types because if you recall from the categories that we created, those were meal and timeliness. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Boolean and you'll see that a Boolean question has now been added in. So I'll click on it again and a second one gets added in. So you can either click on it or you can click and drag it. Either or will allow you to edit this particular category now that we've got this in here. So let's go ahead and start typing out the questions that we want to ask within the survey itself. So for question 1, for our meal, I want to ask, were you satisfied with the quality of your meal? Now, one thing I do want to stress is that even though we've added in the question type from here, from the toolbox on the left, and we've added our question, it's important to note that we need to specify what category this question is associated with. So if you look on the right-hand side for this question, you'll see 2 drop-downs, one for category and one for theme. So if I click on the category drop-down, you'll see all of the different Boolean question types that were configured, and we'll want to select meal. And the reason this is important is because this category is what you will be reporting on in the dashboards in order to get an understanding of the different questions that have been asked. So it's important to ensure that your questions are associated with the appropriate categories. Our second question was around timeliness. So were you served in a timely manner? Once again, from the category dropdown, we will choose the appropriate category. And then let's say for this one, we don't want this to appear as faces, but we want this to appear as thumbs up or thumbs down. We can change the theme of that from the drop down here. Next, we're going to add in a customer satisfaction question type. So I'll just click on CSAT. That question has been added in. And then I'll type out my question here. Satisfied were you? Again, ensuring that it is tied to the appropriate overall satisfaction category. And then from a display standpoint, in other words, what will be visible to the consumer, whether we want it to appear as a scale of 1 to 5 numerically, or we want it to appear as smileys. So I'll choose the faces theme. We'll add an NPS question next. Associated with the likelihood to recommend category. And then we'll add a drop-down menu. So the multi-select question type that we configured is available in one of 3 visualizations. We can actually have it displayed as either a drop-down menu, a radio group, a radio button group, or checkboxes. The checkboxes allow for multi-select, whereas both the drop-down and the radio group allow only for single select. For the multi-select question, ask who helped you today, and then we will select the employee name category. And then last but not least, we'll add in a comment box. With the category of comment, which was already created. So at this point, we are pretty much done with creating our survey. So we'll go ahead and hit the Save Survey button here. There we go, our survey has been saved, and now we can move forward in the process of actually creating additional actions and distributing our survey. We also have a translations tab available here. So if you wanted to be able to make the survey available in different languages, this is where you would actually configure the alternative text for the different languages. So now this does need to be configured on the back end, but once you've specified which languages you wish to be able to make the survey available in, you will be able to come here and specify the alternate text for each of the questions in the survey. I'll get to distributions in a moment, but we'll check out actions first. So this is where we can actually configure our survey to create a ticket based on a particular survey response. So I'm going to go ahead and click the plus button here. And this is where we can actually now create an action to be keyed off of a particular response to this particular survey. So we can give this particular action a title. If CSAT less than 4, create a ticket. And now we can actually specify conditions for this particular action to trigger. So if I click on the little plus icon, I'll be met with the list of questions that we've configured for this particular project. And I want a ticket to be triggered anytime the overall satisfaction receives a score of less than 4. So I'll go ahead and click on how satisfied were you? And we have a variety of different options that we can pick from. I want less than, and from the drop down here, I'll select 4. So anytime someone provides feedback and says their overall satisfaction was less than 4, it will create a ticket within our platform. We can specify the priority of this ticket. So I'll set this to low for now. And we need to provide a subject for the ticket that is created. So I could provide a subject that says low CSAT score received, ticket created. Now I can hit the create button. There we go. Our action has now been created for this project. Now that we've created the action, let's go ahead and distribute the survey. So if we go into distributions, there's 2 ways that you can currently distribute the survey. You can either create a link channel. In other words, you'll get a web URL with a QR code that you'll be able to place on digital signage or posters on site. Alternatively, you can create a channel for distributing the survey on the kiosk. But for the purposes of the demonstration today, we'll stick with link channels. So I'll click the add distribution button here, and we'll provide a name for the channel here. So I'll just call this demo survey 2, hit create. And there we go, our channel's available here. And now we can click on use. Now these are some other link channels that already exist. So if we wanted to remove an existing link channel, we could just take over that survey URL, which is particularly useful if you have situations where your survey changes frequently. You may not want to change the URL, so you can just take over an existing link channel and the survey would just update itself. So you wouldn't necessarily need to create new distribution channels for your surveys. But for now, I'll go ahead and use this particular channel. And here it is. We've got our web URL. We've got our QR code, which we can download and share the web link as necessary with individuals that may require it. If we head over to the summary tab now, you'll see that currently we now have our details of our link, and we can actually download a PNG file of our QR code in order to be able to take the survey and provide the appropriate feedback and collect feedback from our guests.